Hello, Crystal Honeycutt here with True Nature Consulting. This video is going to be a basic overview of emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. Tapping is one of my very favorite ways to help reduce stress response and to stop the cycles of self-sabotage that keep us from living an empowered, free, and impactful life. I use EFT all of the time for my own personal process, and I teach it to all of my clients because it is clinically effective and very, very easy. What emotional freedom technique allows us to do is to recall painful memory, trauma-associated memory, or feelings that just are keeping us from being able to engage our lives and be in healthy relationships in a way that are free-flowing and full of positivity. When we are able to down-regulate the stress response and at the same time recall these negatively impactful memories or feelings, what we're doing is we are reprogramming the brain. We are providing a physical scenario that feels safe and comforting, and at the same time bringing forward these feelings that don't feel good anymore. And what this does is it allows there to be a new association with these thoughts and feelings. By also giving ourselves permission to give voice to these thoughts or feelings that we have allows ourselves greater freedom of expression and really honors our true self. This combination is incredible for helping you to get out of acute situations where you're feeling stressed out, afraid, angry, hurt, or finding yourself falling back into habitualized patterning or thinking that really creates chaos and havoc in your own life. It also helps you to have major breakthroughs. When you are not feeling resistant and afraid and tense and tight, the ability to creatively problem solve becomes so big and available within yourself. There is actually wonderful science around emotional freedom technique and its association with positive psychology. EFT is being utilized by many practitioners around the world now because it is so effective and so easy. So let's jump into it. So the way that this really works is first and foremost is being as honest with where you're at right now more than anything. The beauty about EFT is that you can verbally speak it, but if that doesn't feel safe, you can still think it in your head and it's effective. The one thing that matters more than anything is that you're actually being truthful with how you're feeling. Whether it's logical or not doesn't matter. What's inside your subconscious is what's actually true. So we first want to do our best to kind of frame how we're feeling within one or two phrases. For the purpose of this video, we're going to tap on change. Change is the one thing that all of us seem to struggle with, and it really can trigger our biological fight or flight response because change often means that there are many unknowns in our lives that we can't control, and we don't necessarily have the ability to influence them in the way that tends to make our physical bodies feel safe. This doesn't mean that change is harmful. Change is usually one of the most wonderful things that comes into our lives, but the concept of change and sometimes the process of change can be very challenging. So doing a general tapping on change is something that I do almost weekly, because what this is doing is reinforcing the concept that change is not something to be feared, but something that can be creative, life affirming, and that actually is providing wonderful new opportunities for me. So what we want to do is we want to think about change in a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being that change is great and it doesn't cause any stress for me. And 10 being stress causes a whole lot of stress for me. So think now for yourself. How do I feel in relation to change? For me, right now, change is about an 8, which means that when I think about change, I feel quite a bit of stress still. So we're going to tap on that. We're going to set up our subconscious self first with a primer. And we're going to tap on what's known as the karate chop point on your hand. It doesn't matter which hand you use. I'm left-handed, so I tend to tap with my left hand. So I'm going to tap on the karate chop point on my right hand. If you're right-handed, it may feel more naturally to do it the other way around. And we're just going to set up our psychic space with a priming phrase. Even though even though change feels stressful to me, I choose now to deeply love and accept myself anyway. Even though change feels stressful to me, I deeply love and accept myself anyway. Even though change feels so scary, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. So now that we've primed our psychic space, we're going to go through the routine of the tapping points. And at the same time that we're gently tapping on these specific points, we're going to allow our brain to have a free association with the concept of change. So we're going to start with the eyebrow point. Change feels so scary. Outside corner of the eye. I don't like change because it means everything is changing. Underneath the eye. Change is really bothering me. Underneath the nose. I didn't choose to have this change. Going down to the chin. Every time there's been a change, sometimes bad things happen. Collarbone point. Your collarbone point is a natural indentation that's right underneath your collarbone. Remember to tap gently. This point in particular can feel a little tender. Change really means that I'm encountering scary new things and I don't know how to handle them. This next point is kind of awkward. It's underneath the arm, and you want to go down from the armpit to about horizontally midpoint where your chest is, okay? So gently just tap. It's okay if you don't have the exact spot. I love this process because you don't have to be perfect, okay? So going back into change. Change is tough. Now we're going to the top of the head, and this actually completes one full round of the tapping sequence. We want to make sure to reaffirm and staying in our zone, okay? When change comes into my life, it means that I'm changing too. Now, we've usually just stirred the pot with one round of tapping. So you want to keep going through the points until you physically begin to feel calmer. I'm going to show you the natural flow of the sequence so that you can see how it goes. Continuing with change. And once again, allowing yourself to just say whatever is coming out is really going to help you to understand why change or any other issue that you're tapping on is really causing internal resistance. Eyebrow point. Because change means that I'm changing, that feels scary. I'm transforming. And when I transform, that means I have new thoughts, new feelings, new friends, new loved ones, sometimes a new home, sometimes a whole new life. Change often is associated with things going away, relationships coming to an end or changing. Circumstances in my life that I like are changing too. But this also means that there are elements in my life that I don't like are also changing. And that might be a good thing. I think change could usher in something that is more serving to my higher self. And when I think about that, stress doesn't feel as scary. Stress doesn't have to be negative. It can feel crazy as things are getting sorted out, but maybe it means something wonderful is coming, something that's going to be so life affirming. Even though change feels scary and my body wants to be tense and my body wants to run or fight, that's my body's way of being ready to protect me if I need it. But change doesn't always mean that I need protecting. Change can mean that I just need to be more open. And feeling open can be scary too, because then I feel vulnerable. Maybe that's really what this is all about, is feeling more vulnerable. Feeling vulnerable. Then I'm exposed. And people can see me for who I am, and they might not like me. Or they might not like the way that I engage with the world, but ultimately, I want to be who I am. And change is going to help that. Change is going to help me to be courageous in my vulnerability. Okay, try to end your sequence at the top of your head. Take a deep breath when you're done. Visualize everything that just came up moving out with your breath. And then check in with yourself. Okay, we're going back to our original concept of change. When I think to myself, how do I feel about change? Change was once an 8 for me. Now it's really feeling like a 5. You want to continue tapping until you get to a 5 or below. That really indicates that your primary stress response is really calmed down, so that when you connect in with the concept of change, both consciously and subconsciously, your stress response is much quieter. When your stress response is quieter, that means that your association with change or whatever topic you're tapping on is not being associated with immediate danger. This is going to then allow you to become a creative problem solver, or to just be able to be peaceful within the concept of whatever you're tapping on. You may have to tap on issues more than once. This is really common, especially if it is a deep-rooted or very traumatic issue. Don't feel afraid to not reach out and get help. Either have a tapping buddy that helps to hold you accountable, or actually seek out the support and care from a professional who would be able to help you walk through the elements in your life that are causing stress and perhaps even trauma in a way that is safe and structured, so it can take some of the pressure off of you to be able to be much more present with your own healing process. Keep tapping. Even if you have to shut yourself in a bathroom somewhere, you can do that tapping to calm yourself down. I love this technique for when I'm getting really triggered and I'm feeling really stressed out in the moment, and with long-standing issues that I have. I love feeling empowered that I have something that I can do, even if it looks ridiculous, to help me feel safe and calm, which is going to allow me to be more centered in my true self. Please practice. Once you get the points down, the free flow of thought or association comes naturally. So keep practicing. If you need any help, or if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. My information is located below this video. Wishing you freedom, wishing you peace always, and true health. Take care.